what we've got is, what is it, 20 by 20, something like that. It's not very big. Patio. That's the old fencing that came out that we got to get rid of. There's a propagator over there. We got the wheelbarrow. We got the green waste in the bin, but that's going in a compost bin later. When I had these pots, what I did is I took all the old compost and put it in there, and I'll put it in a compost bin to rot down because there was lots of weeds and that in it. Pots. Couldn't believe the price of pots. £3.50 each for large pots. I'll grow tomatoes in those. But we went round B&Q, and the same size, we found these yellow buckets. Like the same size as the pots. They were £1. So I bought 10 of those. We got no greenhouse or anything. We're just trying to do what we can with what we got. That's what I put up in. I've got seeds growing in here, I think. Let's have a look. See what we got. Oh, we have green shoots. I didn't have any this morning. I have green shoots. Hang on a minute. We got 3 varieties of tomatoes in there, and I can't remember which one is which, but I've done them in rows. So it's Tom 1, Tom 2 and Tom 3. So when they come out, I'll put them on, and I'll keep them in teams of 1, 2 and 3, and then we'll find out what they are when they grow. We've got all sorts of things in these little ones. We got come again lettuce. We've got some herbs, but the problem is I had no labels, so I've planted all this up with all different stuff, and I don't know what it is, but I'm quite good. Once it comes up and I can see the leaves, I've got a chance. Now let me show you this. I hope you can see it. We have little green leaves coming up. I think that's lettuce. And I think it's cut and come again lettuce. But obviously I can't transplant them out yet. Gotta wait until they get longer. But we got stuff growing. That's the amazing part of this. And I haven't got a garden. I got a patio. So, as time goes on, we'll do little videos and I'll just show you how I get on and what mistakes I make, because I'm bound to make them. But I got green shoots, look. I'm impressed. I know it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but I think my mate's going to come round and help me sort it out. We're going to cut up the wood, and we got a little half-size dustbin wood burner, and we'll get rid of it. So anyway, that's the start of the garden. Gonna see what we can grow. I think we're gonna have trouble in the summer because with those stones it gets very, very hot. But then come July, August, it gets that hot anyway. We've got tomatoes in. We've got, as you see, what we've done is the runner beans take time to mature, and I think it's too cold at night at the moment for runner beans to grow straight from in the ground or in the pots as I'm doing. It's all right now, it's hot enough. So what I've done is I've brought them in and I've put them in on trays, and I've got French beans, I've got runner beans, and I've got some peas. It came as a pack, as 3, so I'm growing all 3. And the French beans and the peas I'll put in a trench. I've got a flower pot that's about 3 foot long and about 6 foot 5 inches, 6 inches wide as a trough. And I'll put the the French beans and the peas in those. I've got 2 of them. And the runner beans, I've got some stone pots. I don't think they're quite big enough, but you don't need a lot of space. You can grow runner beans in a grow bag, so you don't need a lot of depth. But they do like to burrow down into the soil, and they do like manure. Because what we used to do is dig a trench, put the manure in, about 2 feet wide, dig a trench, then put the soil back on top. That would then rot down, and then that's as the seeds were growing in the greenhouse. And then you'd wait until it was warm, like now, and they'd be 2 or 3 leaves high, and you plant them out and stick them with bean canes. And then you'd cut a trench, like a shallow trench, down through the middle, and that would be used for watering then. And as you had a slight slope on the garden, I had a very slight slope on my garden, so I just dug a trench, put the water hose on the top, and just let it flow down through like a little river, and just leave it on for an hour or 2, and that would water the plants. You definitely do it during a dry spell like this, and then you get long runner beans, and fresh runner beans straight out of the garden you cannot beat. Fresh peas out of the garden you cannot beat. But the problem with what we had is we found the peas would be great the first day, and then they go to seed, they dry up. So what we stopped doing peas. The amount you got pot them and everything. Well, as I've already got the peas, I'll do a few, and we'll get a couple of meals out of it. We'll take them as they're young, and then we'll take them as they're full size, and hopefully we can get 3 meals out of it before they go to seed. And we can keep the seed for next year. If they go to seed, keep the pea seeds, put them in a cool, dark place in a cardboard paper bag, fold it over, write on what it is, and you can do that with onions and carrot seed, and keep the seed for next year. The problem comes is if they're using F1, like a lot of cabbages and that were F1. I couldn't keep cabbage seed. I'd grow cabbage seed for the next year from F1s, and they'd look like weeds. They didn't look like the cabbage that I grew in the garden. So I used to buy cabbage seeds from Hubble Days Research Centre. One, it helps them, and they're a seed bank, and they are brilliant. If you want to join Hubble Day and you want real seeds, that's the place to go. Don't use F1s. And then you can let the, carrots, onions, beetroot, let it go to seed. You only need 1. Enough seed for you for the next year. Beetroot, you might have to let 2 go to seed. Onions, you only need 1. Let it go to seed. And then take the seed head, cut it off, take the seed head, turn it upside down, and put it in your paper bag. Write on it what it is. And then shake it, and all the seeds come out in the paper bag. And then you've got your seed for next year then. And this is how it goes. This is what they used to do during the war. Nobody ever bought seed. I don't think my grandfather ever brought seed. He used to keep the runner beans going. And I said, isn't it time to take the runner beans down? They'd all gone to seed. He said, that's a seed for next year, Ian. Don't buy broad bean seeds. And he'd pick them up and he'd put them in a sack. And he'd keep them dry. And then he'd pod them and have the peas. And he had a little sack, and he put them in a sack and put them in a cool, dark place. And that would be the runner beans for next year. And this is how they do it. When you dig potatoes up, you get small potatoes. You get, your big potatoes, and use those, but you get little potatoes. And you think, what am I going to do with these? And he said, don't throw those out. Keep those. Use those for seed for next year. They will grow the same size potatoes as the big one. Oh. And it works. What I did is I got all the small ones. When I did a load of potatoes, I got the small ones. And what I did is I kept them in a cool, dark place. We got, under the stairs it was. And next year, I had a bag of seed potatoes. I put them in a tray, put them back underneath the stairs, let them sprout, only so they're sprouting, so they start off, and then go out and plant them. And they still give you, one potato still gives you the same amount of harvest as a big one that you planted before that you bought the seed potatoes from. Works brilliant. You've got to manage it. Anyway, this is Ian. Growing your own. And let's see how I get on. I'm going to have some disasters, I tell you. But I'm going to try my best. I've been gardening since I was about 4 or 5 years old. My granddad had a market garden. Dad used to help him. I used to help him. I helped him until I started work. And then I'd go over weekends and I'd help him plant potatoes. We plant 1/2 acre of potatoes between me and my granddad on our own. Be at it all morning. Anyway, it's Ian. Bye for now.